What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. If this is your first time, I am your host, Sean. Happy to have you here. For all my regulars in the house, welcome back. Good to see you guys as always. We are here because it is match preview time. I don't know if you know this, but Manchester United host Brighton tomorrow at Old Trafford, a week after a dominating performance at Anfield that saw us beat Liverpool 2-1. So we're hoping to keep that rolling, like let it ride. Let's double down. Let's get three in a row. As the thumbnail says, as the title says, I want three in a row. My greedy ass wants three in a row. That's what we're doing. We are talking preview today. We're looking at tactics. We're looking at score predictions. I want your predictions for lineups, all that stuff. Before we got into the match, we'll go through some news as well because we got some news. So we're doing all that today, you guys. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check those memberships as well, along with the United vs. Everybody store. Let's get stuck in. I don't want to waste too much of your time. First and foremost, though, because I'm literally that much of a petty tribal little bitch, let's just continue laughing at Arne Slot, who is still whining, by the way, even after Liverpool won their Champions League match against Eintracht Frankfurt. He is still butthurt about losing. What made the difference today, he said, against Frankfurt, is that we were able to press the opponent in our last defeats, including the one against United. We couldn't because the ball was never on the ground, always in the air. Oh, Arne Slot, why are you such a bitter little bitch, dude? He's still whining. He's literally just still whining. And honestly, I don't understand if anyone's told him this, but the more you whine about how you struggled against it, the more you just give every other team a blueprint to beat you. Like, I don't understand if you don't, like, you lost, get over it, go blame the ref or something. We know you like to do that anyway. Can you imagine? I'm very glad that Ruben Amorim is not the kind of manager who blames refs. He wasn't like that at Sporting. He's not going to do that now. But Arne Slot wasted a little time coming in and already pointing the finger at everybody else. They played long balls. We thought Shesko was playing. If we lose the league, ref, it's going to be your fault. Like, fucking hell. He may be still hung up on last weekend's rope, but we're not. We're moving on. We're looking ahead. Take a moment to laugh at him because why not? That's why we're here. If you can't get into rivalries, and football is not for you. But we're going to do it. We're trying to make it 3 wins on the trot, and we're hoping that we get it done. So let's get stuck in. Who's in the chat right now? Rob in the house. Good to see you again. Yes, guys, please hit those like buttons. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. And make sure, please, just hype past videos on your phone. I know it's not available on desktop. If you're watching them on your phone, just randomly click on other old videos and just hit that hype button. That does help the channel now. That's the way YouTube's doing it, though. Rob says, Liverpool is not shy of long balls when they're using it. The league is doing long throw. Exactly. And like I said, after that Frankfurt match, they had like nearly twice as many long balls completed as Eintracht Frankfurt. So let's not pretend. And you know, the way they scored that opening goal and the set piece goals and stuff, like if it were United, we'd be getting slaughtered. Ten Hag got slaughtered for scoring counterattack goals after all the money we spent, when that's exactly what Liverpool had to resort to. Like, everyone's butthurt. He's a sore loser. Arne Slot's been a sore loser since he arrived at Liverpool. He's already like caught the arrogance and like when the whining when things don't. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Something must be wrong. It can't be our fault. Like, we've seen it all the time. But what are you gonna do? Let me get some coffee here because it's been a long day. You guys know Thursdays and Fridays are usually my busy days with clients. So we had clients today, had clients yesterday. I'm trying to clean. Picking up the wife tomorrow. She's on her way back. She decided to stop off in London for the day today. So she has been in London seeing all sorts of touristy stuff. She finally got herself some fish and chips. She does not like mushy peas. I know. I can't keep making excuses for her. She doesn't deserve England. But I'm trying to get her to go find some sticky toffee pudding. I know it sounds weird because I'm like, for people who are in the UK, they're like, yeah, that's normal. For us, it's not normal. And when I had it, I was like, this is amazing. I want to eat this every day. I want it to be like married to me. I want it to have my children. Sticky toffee pudding's amazing. But hey, what you gonna do? But Irish says, oh, Danny B, you changed your name again. Hit that like button. Yes, please hit that like button, you guys. He's on his way home from work. Appreciate it, my guy. We're going to talk a little news. So happy birthday to Wayne Rooney. By the way, it's his birthday today. He turns 40, so I'm older than Wayne Rooney. So way to make me feel old, Waza. But yeah, as we're going along, feel free to get in some of your favorite Wayne Rooney memories at Manchester United, guys. Go ahead and share some of those as we go along. I'll make it kind of an open thing, and I'll put some up in the chat window as we go along. But I think my favorite Wayne Rooney memory, there's so many, right? The bicycle against City was awesome. The goal from midfield. I think, who was that? Was that against Stoke? Was that who that was against when he scored from midfield? Remember Beckham was at the game for that one. I think my favorite one though was when I think it was his last season, because I remember he was wearing the blue shirt that I have. But he scored directly from a free kick to break the all-time scoring record for United. I have, you guys can't see it. If you look back on some of the old photos, you'll see it. But I have the newspaper, the page from that I ordered special from UK, and I have that framed because it's a big historical moment. So I've got that in there. Stephanie Griffith, big up, Steph. Yes, thank you for stopping by, you guys. Make sure to get your favorite Wayne Rooney memories in as we go celebrate his birthday. And then tomorrow also marks 300 appearances at United for Bruno. So big up Bruno, probably play a big role. So move on some transfer news to start things off, because like you guys know, I like to start there. Let's talk a little bit about some rumors regarding possible exits at the club. We got a report from Rich Fay regarding a couple players who are struggling to get minutes. Joshua Zirkzee, Kobbie Mainoo. Rich Fay claimed this yesterday. It appears highly unlikely that Mainoo will be allowed to leave during the January transfer window, given the limited options available. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a ridiculous car right outside. Literally, this is like a neighborhood, and that guy was doing like 60 down my street. Not okay. I'm about to start over again now. That completely distracted me. I thought it was Vin Diesel out here, just family and up here. It appears highly unlikely that Mainoo will be allowed to leave during the January transfer window, given the limited options available in central midfield. Again, we've said that many, many times. I think we talked on the Kickabout. I think Bill was in the chat trying to say maybe let him go get minutes. I mean, from Kobbie's point of view, yeah, that's what he wants. From a United point of view, it's not ideal because we're really strapped with midfielders right now. Faye continues, said, however, departure for Zirkzee now seems more probable than ever. So Mainoo, we don't want him to leave. We did get reports not that long ago that amorim blocked moves for both players, but it almost sounds, again, and we explored this a couple times. After the match, it was one of my 3 thoughts. Dylan and I talked about this. What is Joshua Zirkzee's future at Manchester United? He's barely gotten any minutes. He was on the bench. He's been on the bench. It's not like he's injured. But he's just not getting in. Even, like, I don't know. Let me get your thoughts in here. Hold on. Tim, 1999, says, I was lucky to be at Rooney's debut, so that's my special memory. Well, that's an awesome memory, man. I'm extremely jealous for you. Man, I would have loved to see Waza play live. I didn't start getting over to Manchester until about 3 years ago, 22-23 season. My first match was a Europa League match against Real Betis. Been to several Premier League matches. I've been to one Champions League match as well. So Champions League match is awesome. I love hearing the Champions League anthem at Old Trafford. I don't know when the next time we're going to hear that again, but that was a pretty big thing. But that's awesome, man. Big up on that one. Welcome back, Tim. So let's start with Mainoo, because that's where Rich Face starts here. First and foremost, though, I'll hold my hands up and make a correction to something I said on the Kickabout. Because watching it back, because I watch a lot of videos back, I just got quality control, right? I realized that I misread my notes during that video regarding how many matches Mainoo has missed due to injury. I wanted to make sure I clarified that, because I did misread that. He's actually missed 38 matches total, and that includes that first injury that kept him out until November. I had mistakenly said after that injury. So 38 games total, which in 2.5 seasons or so, it's, I guess, like been a little more than 2 seasons now. That's still a considered amount. That's basically, you've been playing first team football for 2 seasons. You basically missed half of them because of injury. That's a big deal. So it was actually 21 matches missed due to that first injury that kept him out till November. But then it was 2 separate muscle injuries that saw him miss another 17 matches after that. So, and one of those injuries later on, he was out for like 2 months between February and April of last year. So wanted to clarify, but still, injuries, got a lot of them. So I wanted to make a correction to myself. My bad, misread my notes on that one. It happens. It is what it is. At least I can come back, hold my hands up and say, yep, my bad. Take note, English media, when you get it wrong. Graham Souness, looking at you. Rob, big up, Rob Taff. Good to see you, man. So is that what's going on, Rob? YouTube changing people's names? YouTube's made a lot of changes. If you notice, there's a lot of little like subtle visual changes too. Like even just like the like button and stuff, now it looks like bolded and things. Interesting. I just, they make a lot of changes, and really a lot of these changes make it more difficult for smaller channels like me to really latch onto that algorithm. That's why I depend so much on you guys, just your involvement, your likes, your subscribes, you're just watching the video, getting involved, hyping them now. I guess that's a thing. I do just rely on you guys so much for that one. Oh boy. Oh boy, he's in the house, Justin. And what is going on, my guy? Hope you are. Yeah! Hope you're doing well. Justin gets his own little special intro, so big up, man. Hope you're having a good day at work. Friday, man. Enjoy it. Justin and I are trying to steal some keys so we can go do a little bit of indoor soccer at his church and just probably break stuff. Justin is literally. I used to do drop-in with Justin on a weekly basis indoor. This kid, man, he just ripped a shot and just caught it wrong or something. I don't know what happened, but went straight up in the air, completely shattered a ceiling light. So just glass dropping everywhere. And we're like, all right, whatever. He ripped the shot once, and I don't know who at this indoor place decided to put a fire exit door next to the net, ripped the shot, hit the handle on the fire exit door, and started the fire alarm. We can't let this kid out, man, but how you doing, man? Tim says, I think YouTube does this. Yeah, well, YouTube just, I'm like, if it ain't broke, why bother fixing it? But, so yeah, Cobby. What do you guys think about Cobby? We talked a little bit about it the other day. I think we can't afford it, unless we literally bring in a midfielder who is first team quality. I just don't see the point in letting go of Cobby. We'll talk a little bit more about that soon. So keep a lookout for center midfielder video, because I've got one that I'll probably throw up a little later on tonight. But we'll see what happens there. Teresa, welcome back. Welcome. Good to be back. In my opinion, the Zirkzee's isn't going anywhere. Amorim likes two fully ready to go teams. There's an FA Cup coming up. And that's another thing, too. Don't forget about AFCON as well. We're going to be losing two of our attackers who kind of play up in that area. And then we're also being losing Mizraoui to AFCON as well. And so I don't think we're going to want to let go of a whole lot of people, especially with AFCON right around the corner, because not only will those players be gone, you don't know if they're going to get injuries or anything either. But my question is, Teresa, and welcome back, was the writing on the wall for him when we signed three attackers in the summer? I mean, Højlund was getting in ahead of him last season, for fuck's sake. I mean, I don't know what the issue is with Zirkzee. What do you think Amorim sees, or maybe more importantly, what do you think Amorim's not seeing from Zirkzee? I mean, I think he has the size. I think he has the skill. Watching him, his ball control, his dribbling. He's the guy, his favorite spice is nutmeg. And I just don't know what the issue is. What do you think he's lacking that he needs to work on? Like, what could make him kind of be a more, like, when we're down, like, why are we rolling Cunha and these guys 90 minutes? Why are we putting Cunha in the 9 and putting Mount in the 10 when Zirkzee is right there on the bench and fit? Like, I don't know what's going on there. I saw a post and I put up a poll as well. A lot of votes in the poll so far, but there's rumors that Fabrizio Romano says there's rumors that Real Madrid could be open to letting Endrick go out on loan in January. Would you guys be more amenable to letting Zirkzee go if we could get Endrick on a loan in January, kind of bringing in another striker? Do you think Endrick is better? Is it just not worth the headache? Do you really just don't think that makes a huge difference? You guys let me know what you think there. Justin says it's fixed. Give me a ball and I'll break it. Yeah, too bad high velocity doesn't do drop-in anymore. So what you gonna do? Tim says it's going to be hard for Zirkzee to get a good run, not his signing. And I hear that, Tim. So that brings up another question, though, because, yes, it's not a player signed under Amorim, but at the same time, Ineos are signing players for a long-term project. I don't think Ineos are signing players for managers specifically, if that makes sense. Remember, we were linked to Dorgu way back in that spring before Ten Hag even got sacked, and we still brought in Dorgu despite having a new manager. So I do think Ineos are looking at players who are universal, who are versatile, who can play multiple systems. I think that we're trying to adopt a little bit of that Liverpool approach, where it wasn't, let's bring in Klopp and let's buy players for Klopp. It's, this is how we want to start playing. These are the players that we want to start bringing in. These are the profiles. These are the characteristics. Klopp is part of that system. He fits that mold, and he's gonna help guide that kind of thing. Does that make sense? I mean, we've talked about that a couple times, but I do think that's maybe. I mean, we don't even call them managers anymore. They're head coaches now. Um, Teresa says, in my opinion, Amorim isn't about to transfer fit, ready to go players to recoach replacements. Yeah, I mean, it's all about. I mean, probably Zirkzee and his agent will have a say so. Amorim will have a say so. Ineos will have a say so. I can't think that Ineos will be so prone to let him go a year after bringing him in, but we'll see. If he's not happy, and again, if Amorim just doesn't rate him, I mean, Amorim's not going to play him if he just doesn't rate him, right? If he's just like, I just don't see anything in this guy, he's not going to run the risk. And so, at what point do you do? He wasn't. He was. I would say he was. He definitely was brought in for a different system because under Ten Hag we played a completely different system. So maybe that could play a role. I don't know. Is he too slow? Is he just not assertive enough? I mean, he doesn't really. He's big, but he doesn't really get stuck in, I guess, if that makes sense either. And you guys know I don't like big players who are afraid to be big players. Tim says, shame we don't have Euro games for some of those fringe players or Carabao Cup games. If we could have just had one more round in the Carabao Cup, who knows what could have happened. But we went out the first time of asking because some of these fringe players who started that match, Cobby, Fredrickson, and Zirkzee, they couldn't get it done, and then we had to wait too late to bring in the first team guys, and it is what it is. Rob says, I think Zirkzee seems happy. Yeah, and remember we spoke about that in the match of the Three Thoughts video. That I showed that clip of him coming on. He was hyped. He was gassed. He was celebrating after the win. He was super excited, which kind of goes against a lot of the he's unhappy nonsense that you get from like Talk Sport and shit. So. Again, it's easy to look at the situation and say, like, he can't be happy. He probably wants minutes. And it's easy to say that, but it's a whole thing entirely to do what, like, the English media do and then just make an article about him not being happy. We don't know. It just is what it is. Roman, welcome back. Says, it just boils my blood when Mount, Dalot, Shaw, and Ugarte get more games than Mainu and Zirkzee. Yeah, it is frustrating. I know a lot of us do want Cobby to play, but I get it to an extent. I do think he should probably be getting a little bit more minutes. The problem is we just don't have the opportunities. Like someone said, we don't have any midweek matches. We really need to make sure it's good rotation. Who knows what can happen? I think that Cobby's he's young. He's got a lot of work to do to put himself in there, but I would like to see him get a little bit more minutes too. Problem is he's not as physical. And he doesn't have a passing range, and he's not super, super quick. And so it's difficult, right? So I get both sides, but I get the frustration. You and I, we've spoken about it many times as well. Rob says, with Afghan, we're losing our right flank in Bumo, Ahmad, Mazraoui. Yeah, so we're going to be stuck with Dalot, Dorgu as our wingbacks, basically. Shaw can probably fill in too if we need. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Montato maybe just brought into the matchday squad. I don't know if he's going to get minutes, but as coverage for training and whatnot, especially. We got Mount, we got Cunha, we've got Zirkzee in there as well. So we do have some players. Cobby can actually probably play in the 10, especially if we're going to be doing the thing where we drop back a little bit to win any long balls or anything. He could probably do that very well. I think I see him as a really good advanced 8 as well. Teresa does not think there's anything wrong with Zirkzee or Manu. I saw their reaction. Yeah, and that's like what we said. They were on the pitch celebrating. They jumped on super fast. So I don't think anything of it. I don't write it, Teresa. We just talk about it. So, but yes, I did that poll. So get in your poll and keep getting in your favorite Waza memories to celebrate his birthday. But would you let Zirkzee leave in January if we got someone like Endrick on loan? Do you think that that's a better player? Do you think that Endrick would offer more because he is rumored to be maybe going out on loan? So let me know. Teresa thinks minutes are coming. If we get Europa Champions League to be doing flat out busy, must be. Yeah, and I think that Cobby just takes it as a challenge if he wants minutes. Zirkzee take it as a challenge as you want minutes, and then just be ready because you never know when the minutes will come. And Amorim could rotate. We could get an injury. Who knows? You could come on and change the game. So big up, Bilal. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you guys are doing well. Box in the house as well. Big up, Box. Good to see you guys in. Box wants to know, would you bring in another 10 or center forward? And that's the question that we put out there. I put out the poll in the community tab. I posted it on Twitter as well. Would you let Zirkzee leave in January if we got Endrick? So Box would not take Endrick. Interesting. Roman says no. Zirkzee is much better footballer. Interesting. Well, get involved in the poll. Let us know. Bilal says you would not be against it. So you never know. Never know. Speaking of young players potentially pushing for minutes, you guys, I posted this as well. This is JJ Gabriel's latest Instagram post. He's involved in first team training this week, getting some minutes with the big boys. He's not old enough to be involved in first team anything other than training, because there's rules, there's age limits and things like that. Like players his age, even if he were to join in when he was 16, he's not even allowed to get changed in the first team dressing room at that age. He's got to wait till he's 18. So rules, this is the way it works. That's safeguarding. I only remember that from my safeguarding course when I got it was like 2 years ago when I did the safeguarding course. So but I am Titanium says, why is YouTube live? I'm so tired, Bilal, that when I saw the word live and handles and it was low, I thought for a second it said, why is YouTube showing my love handles? That's why I'm drinking coffee. I don't know why, man. YouTube makes a lot of changes for no reason a lot. Like I said, that's why now they're really trying to push you guys to hype videos on your phone after they've been live for like 24 hours. That's why I just request that you guys go ahead and hype some past videos. Seems like it might be working well. So, but yeah, I don't know why, man. I don't like, you guys know I'm stupid when it comes to technology. It's a miracle that I even have a channel, honestly. Boxing's Edric is too raw. At this stage, you'll be using as a stopgap. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the question. Is this really comes down to how highly you rate Endrick? How much more of an impact do you think he might have on the team versus Zirkzee? Because is it worth it for a loan for 6 months and then we maybe revisit striker in 6 months? I don't know. I think Zirkzee could probably do a job, especially during AFCON, but we'll see. And like Bilal says, we got the FA Cup coming up as well, so you never know. Teresa says there's also heaven. Yep, in my opinion, Amorim will introduce the youngsters at some point. I hope so. You guys know I love the academy. I will always, before we sign young players, I will always look to the academy to see who's in there. That's why I wasn't super thrilled about the prospect of paying a lot of money for Giovanni Quenda with guys like Camison or Montato in the academy. Camison's older than Quenda too. I just think we would be fine, but it is. Roman says, thoughts on our priorities. We can do a video on that a little later. I already did a January kind of deal video a couple weeks back, players that could be got for deals in January based on a lot of different factors. So you go ahead and watch that one, but we can do another priority video. Maybe I'll put out a poll ahead of time and see what everybody's priorities are. Priorities are one thing. Gettability is a whole nother thing, because just because like we want Adam Wharton doesn't mean we're getting Adam Wharton in January. So Box says it's a shame Yildiz is highly rated now. He'll cost a lot. Yeah, I don't think Yildiz is going to come in and play rotation though behind Cunha and Buemo. So that's JJ Gabriel getting involved. I don't know if you guys watch any of the academy. We watch a lot of the academy on the channel. We've done a couple watch-alongs for academy matches. We love JJ Gabriel. He is an absolute baller. He could come in a couple years and really be just a really good rotation option for like Cunha. He could play. He would slot in perfectly on that left 10 role. He's really good at dropping deep into midfield to pick up the ball, just like Cunha does. He wants to get on the ball. He's press resistant. He can drive the ball forward. He reminds me of Cunha a lot, but he's also got a little bit of that silk with the footwork and stuff in the final third. I really like he's playing, he'll play back-to-back games like 2 consecutive days in a row. Sometimes he'll play for like the under 16s and he'll jump right into the under 18s the following day, and he'll do well in both matches. Like, we're doing everything we can to keep this kid tied down and keep him from getting his head turned, man. Let's see. Rob says, which 3 academy players would you bring in to replace the AFCON guys? Probably definitely like Camison and Montato. I'd probably bring in there as well. Probably a little further up the pitch. Probably like Cheeto, maybe Biancarri or something. Shea Lacey probably be a good shout as well, to play in one of those 10 roles a little bit and kind of do a little bit of what Mbumo does. So there's a lot of options there. Shea Lacey's looking really, really good. I'm happy that he's not picking up any more injuries. Biancheri, I love Biancheri. You guys know that as well. We have a lot of really good players on it. Musa is another good shout. I think Musa is a very good attacker too. Dylan and I wish there was an academy match when Justin and I went to a FA Youth Cup match when we were there last January, and it was awesome. I'd love to get back to seeing it, but there's just nobody's playing. It's the festive week. It's between Christmas and New Year's Eve, so there's not a whole lot going on. So, let me get here. Teresa says the youngsters on loan. Some will be recalled. Maybe not January. Yeah, I did a little bit of a loan watch post the other day. If you guys go back into the community tab, you'll see that. Just an update on what some of the loanees are out doing right now. Roman says, rather getting a tapping wing back close to Ahmad quality-wise, if he exists even left wing back, since you really can't do anything with midfield anyway. Yeah, I think Dogu could use a little bit of backup there because I just don't think Dallo. You guys know how I feel about Dallo. I think Dallo needs to be sold. He just does. I can't. Maybe we could convince Inter to do a swap with DeMarco, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. Thwaite's a good shout. Kone's good. I just don't. He's not really going to be replacing anybody in Kone in January when AFCON, because we're not losing any midfielders really. But we'll see what happens. So let's move on from JJ Gabriel because I like that. Who here, raise show of hands, who uses transfermarket.com for anything when it comes to players? Do you guys use that for anything? I use it all the time, personally. I do a lot of it. Most of the time when I'm using it, I'm looking for players who are out of contract, and I use it for injury history for a lot of players. It's basically what I use for injury history. It gives a really good breakdown of injuries, what the injury is, how many matches missed, how many days missed. That's a really good place for that. But what it really does is it's designed to be shown, like, to show market value, like what a player's market value really is. Now, market value and what a player's like price tag are not the same thing. Market value is a little bit, I guess you could say it's unrealistic, like, but it's like the at cost price, like, and then you've got like the markup basically is the market price. But there's a lot of players who are out of contract. That's where I look at it. But it also lists the market value. And a few United players have seen their market value increase and decrease already this season. This is what some of these players have done. So we've got a lot of, like, 4 players really that we've signed in the last 6 months have seen their market value increase right now. So Mbumo's market value has gone up 15 million euros. Lamens has gone up 11 million euros. He's only played 2 matches. It could just be when he joined United. Who knows? You know how that's what they do. Like in FC 26, if a player joins like Liverpool, all of a sudden their potential goes up like 20. It's just the way it works. Cunha's market value went up by 10 million euros. And Heavens went up by 5 million euros. So you could almost look at that, like take 15 million euros off of the price we paid. That's really kind of the way you can look at that if you want to be, all stingy like me. But I like that. We've seen some players like Zirkzee, who we were just speaking about, his market value dropped by 2 million euros. Bruno's dropped mostly because he's getting older. That's just what's going to happen. Mainu's dropped a bit because he's not playing. Ahmad's dropped a bit, mostly probably because from that shaky start to the season where he and Mbeumo were kind of getting in each other's way. They didn't really, so performance has dipped. I don't think looking at him play, he's worse. I just think that his numbers have dropped because now he's got someone else next to him who's doing the same things he's used to doing. Leach's market value dropped because he hasn't played in half a year. And Ugarte's market value dropped because he's just struggling a bit. But are there any surprises in there for you guys? So Box says he likes Transfer Market. It's a good source. Yeah, it's good. I use a lot of different sites. I use Opta. I used to use Yscout before it became only for clubs. Now clubs have accounts with Yscout, so people like me and you can't use it anymore. FBref, you guys know I like me some FBref. I use FootMob a lot. SofaScore is really good for the heat maps and stuff like that. I use a lot. So Rob's on the SoFIFA because he's at FC 26, guys. Box says the fees are genuine compared to reality. To be fair, not everyone agrees. For instance, Transfer Market, if you look back a long time ago, when it said that when we bought Harry Maguire, it said that his market value was the same as Virgil van Dijk when he went to Liverpool. And there are a lot of people who just didn't agree with that. That's the example that I'm throwing out there. So according to transfermarket.com, both players were worth, I think it was like 75 million or something at the time. Not everybody agrees with that. And so again, it is what it is. You either look for it or you don't. Not everybody finds it helpful. I just thought that was an interesting little graphic to share with everybody today as we are kind of previewing the match. So Roman says should have loaned Sekou Kone the championship. I mean, I like him to get experience. Obviously, he picked up that injury. I think he's back in training now, though. So hopefully we'll see him get some minutes. Both the under 21s and the under 18s kick off at the same time tomorrow at home. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't get that at all. But we'll see what happens. Rob says thinks Ahmad will go back up. He looks like he's up to speed again. Yeah, and it's kind of like the way, and Rob, you'll know this. It's kind of like the way FC, like FIFA and FC 26 work. A player misses a couple games or has a bad couple games. The next update comes out, their stats will drop, and then a couple weeks later they'll have a good couple games and they'll go back. It's just weird. I think the game does a little too many updates. I think it makes it difficult because the updates don't apply to your current save. So if you're in the middle of a career mode and they make some updates, let's say they like update real faces or they update overall and potential, you have to start over again or else it's not going to apply. It's really stupid, but it is what it is. I'm nitpicking there. First world problems, right? Bog says maybe Ahmad be considered more of a defensive position. And maybe just because his numbers, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. So Robin says only 10 for Ugarte is good. I mean, considering, yeah. So you almost look at that like we paid like 70 million then 6. So it's interesting. Rob says Sophie is EFC, but it has real life tabs. I don't use a lot of that. Sometimes I'll look for like just like if I'm looking for a specific position and I'm just trying to see who's out there. Like if I want let's say if I wanted to sell Zirkzee, I would probably go look for like an older striker, like someone who's like maybe 28 or older, and then I would look for that specifically in the game, and then maybe bring someone in to kind of rotate in, someone like an El Nasiri or something. Who knows? But yeah, I don't use SoFIFA a ton just because I just kind of know the players that I like now, and I'll sign someone different every time, but I just kind of know what I'm doing, so it is what it is. Speaking of market value, what do you think will happen with Rashford and his current situation at Barcelona and his future situation at Barcelona? So he's playing really well, right? Like he's doing really well, but and they have a 27 million option to buy, right? But I think someone correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Barcelona basically try to lowball us recently? If I remember correctly, within the last month or so, they were trying to like plead poverty again. That's not like Barcelona at all, right? We can't afford it. We can't afford it. Why did you agree to the price? Like, if you can't afford it. And honestly, if he keeps going the way he's going, the way he's playing right now, if Barcelona can't afford it, then someone else will. Like, how about Barcelona? How about this? Give us Casado and we'll call it even. We'll take a midfielder. You can have Rashford, and we'll call it even. You're going to need some attackers. Robert Lewandowski's probably donezo unless he wants to go to the Saudi League for like a year or two. But just saying, we'll do a straight swap for Casado if you want. But honestly, Barca need to sell players. They can't just swap and stuff because they need cash. If they sold just one of those academy players, the Gavis, the Pedris, the Casados, the Kasbarsis, like they would make a lot of money, and they'd probably be fine. Like they'd be fine, but they can't do that because apparently they're Barcelona. They don't have to play by the same rules as everybody else. So Teresa says it's amazing how Shesko increased. Yeah, apparently he was the worst signing. So I didn't do a video on it. I just talked about it a little bit on the Kickabout on Wednesday with Dylan. But yeah, there are other YouTubers. Footy with an Edge did a good video, that channel, on basically how the Athletic is just full of shit. They just flat out lie. And this is why I've removed the Athletic from my list of reliable sources when it comes to shit like that. But it's just a hit piece. It's just low hanging fruit, man. And it's just because the Abus run the media in the UK, man. It just is what it is. Sorry. I was cleaning the bathroom today, and all all the cleaning chemicals, I like inhaled it too deeply, and now it's like killing my throat. I've been told you're not supposed to mix the chemicals. I just start spraying shit everywhere and trying to just clean the shower. I don't know what's happening. Rob says, I think players take a good while to adapt to a new team. It will look like it's starting to happen. Yeah, I mean, some players do, and that's why another thing. Like, I don't like to compare youngsters often to other players who were good when they were that age. You'll never hear me compare people to like Holland or Mbappe or something, because everybody's just different. They just are. It took Harry Kane years to even get into the Spurs first team. He went on loan and stuff ahead of that. Like, it just is what it is. I mean, Jamie Vardy didn't peak till he was in his mid to late 20s already. So Box says Chelsea would get 50 million for him. Yeah. Rob says we could have big money coming this summer. Rashford, Rasmus, yes. Savings on wages. Yep. Casemiro will be gone. Greenwood, yep. Greenwood would be a big help. That would be a significant chunk of change. I would love it if he would go in January and we can get that money in January and then we can do something in January. But Roman says the Athletic has a clear anti-United bias, especially with the whole United XG inflated because of long shots. Yeah, that was one of the things, Roman, that the Footy with an Edge video kind of explicitly pointed out, was that guy, I think it was JJ Bull, put up like a graphic of XG and broke it down into like different areas. And I said this to Dylan, like, and it's just full of shit. It's just all full of shit, man. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm done with that nonsense. But yeah, give us Casado if you want Barcelona, but I doubt that's going to happen. Maybe we could do like what Forest and Newcastle did, where it's a swap, but like we actually money is exchanged, basically. I don't know. So, and we also, speaking of signings, we did remember that little young goalkeeper, that Derby County goalkeeper that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago when we were rumored. Well, it turns out, it sounds like we've actually completed the signing of him. He said his goodbyes not that long, like a week or so ago on Instagram or whatever. Basically said he was going to be leaving, but we have officially signed him. His name is Charlie Hardy, 16-year-old goalkeeper. He'll go probably right into the under 18s, start working with Darren Fletcher. But building, man, we're always looking out for these young players. We got Heaven, LaSalle, all these guys. Enzo, who's off at Lausanne right now. So I like it. I like that we're building for the future, but we also need to keep focusing on the present as well. Would like us to get another wing back. I would love us to get a midfielder. And we might have to look at center backs in the summer as well. If Leacha and Shaw can't stay fit, and Maguire, maybe we don't want to renew. Maybe he doesn't want to take a pay cut. We could be out 3 defenders. Who knows? So, sorry to keep drinking, but I need coffee. It's it's rough today. What are you guys saying in this poll so far? As we're going to start talking about the match now. Make sure you like the video, you guys. Make sure you subscribe. If you guys are new as well, appreciate that. And keep getting in your favorite Wayne Rooney memories as we go along. I've shared a couple of mine. I've got the newspaper, the front page over here from when he broke the record. So that's on the wall over there. He's a big player. He's a legend. So far, 92% of you think United are going to win. 8% say a Brighton win. And nobody is calling a draw. They don't have any seagull emojis, so I just had to do a blue and white thing for Brighton. That's kind of boring. Rob says, I don't know how good these kids are, but I like that we're out there taking talents. Yeah, I did a full kind of breakdown of him back when we were linked, just kind of his characteristics and his playing style and whatnot. So I can't remember now off the top of my head. You guys know, it's like cramming for a test. I get it all in and I remember it, and then like I forget it immediately when the video's done and I start cramming for the next video. So Bog says Rooney when he was on a holiday eating that big lollipop. Nice. So everybody's got a Rooney memory. It's not a whole lot of people like rate him as highly simply because of, when he tried to leave. But what you gonna do? Brighton. Flock of Seagulls. They have had our number in recent years. If you guys have been living under a rock, they're a bit of a bogey side. They did a double over us last season. If you guys recall, Justin and I were actually in Manchester for the 3-1 loss to them in January at Old Trafford. It was dire. It was a horrible performance. I place a lot of the fault for that match on Andre Onana, by the way, and Diogo Dalot failing to close down the ball. Onana spilling shots back into the danger area. It just is what it is. But we've only beaten them twice in the last few years. Only one of those wins was in the league. I think we knocked them out of the cup competition not that long ago. They no longer have João Pedro, who has scored a couple goals against us recently, but they do have players who can cause us some problems. Surprisingly enough, we're actually above Brighton in the table. They are in 10th, and they actually have less points than us, which honestly, when I saw that, I was surprised because every time I do a match preview, I look at where these teams are in the table and stuff, and I was like, what? They're below us in the table? Interesting. When was the last time we said that going into a match? Because it doesn't feel like we've been better, right? Because they've been on a good run. They haven't lost in a while. They pulled off a couple upsets along the way. They beat Man City earlier in the season. They beat Chelsea. They just beat Newcastle as well. So they're also riding a bit of a high, and they get it done. They do a really good job, I think, of building from the back in a different way. If you guys remember, Roberto De Zerbi liked to build from the back, but he liked to invite the press. And what Brighton liked to do is get these center backs into space and build up with the center backs in advanced position. You got guys like Lewis Dunk, Van Hecke, getting in a little more advanced positions, almost becoming deep lying playmakers, looking for these diagonal runs, these switches of play. And that's what they're going to do. They're big on controlling possession, controlling tempo, and they make themselves pretty hard to break down. They're really quick to get back into shape. If you look at the average player positions, it's very centrally located. They do make themselves very difficult to break down. And they do a good job of restricting the opportunities for the opposition. So we really are going to have to be clinical and take advantage because we're not going to get many chances. This is exactly how they beat Newcastle. But their buildup is actually where I think we can get at them because advanced defenders mean space in behind. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. What are you guys saying here? Box is fed up with Brighton. They've beaten us in the last 3 times at Old Trafford, but we've got this. Cunha, Mbeumo, Lamens are game changers. Yeah, Lamens he's like this instant, like, I feel so much better with Lamens in goal now. He's so good, dude. But yeah, I agree. Again, if you look at their average position, they're a little bit more central located, and Hurzeler has shown that he has the ability to make changes late. If they especially need a result. He made like 4 subs at once recently, and they came on and made a huge difference. If they're chasing something, they can change up their tactics. They can start doubling up strikers and wingers in wide areas to create overloads, which could cause problems for us. Van Hecke, like I said, they like to the center backs do become deep line playmakers. Van Hecke is actually 9th in the league right now for accurate long balls per 90 this season. So they have the ability to do that. Our wing backs and our center backs are really going to need to step up and win those balls. But we also need to make sure we put them in the right area because second balls, right? We are the best in the league right now for winning second balls. So I'll say that for us. We used to be shit at that. Remember how, like, I don't think you can find like an accurate second ball stat. I found that graphic the other day, but it's not tracked. It's not a statistic that's tracked, even on Opta or anything, which is annoying. But apparently the Athletic keeps track of walking numbers, or the BBC or whoever that was. So maybe we can ask them to keep track of it for us. But they do put those numbers forward. They do get on the end of those long balls from their center backs. And then the wingers will push in centrally to win those second balls. So we need to maintain what we did against Liverpool in terms of the second ball stuff, but we need to improve it. Told Justin on the phone yesterday, we were talking about stuff. I'm a firm believer that success breeds expectation. Like I said after the match, I am not a guy who rests on our laurels when we win a match. I'm more of a kind of like from a manager perspective. Well done. Now keep it up. Like, we can't just say, okay, we did that. That was it. We made it. Like, nope. We got to keep it up. We got to get to a new level. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep developing and getting better. We cannot stop and take the momentum off because it will bite us in the ass. They score a lot of late goals. Brighton, half of their goals this season have come in the last 15 minutes of the game. So we need to make sure we stay switched on in those dying minutes, especially if we were defending a lead, because we do struggle with that. We did very well against Liverpool, I thought, to come back and score in the dying minutes, but we do tend to switch off. We've made it a little hard on ourselves because we're a little passive, we were a little lazy, a little kind of casual, and that is what allowed him to get some goals and get some chances. We cannot do that. How many times did Gakpo hit the post? We have to just close down the ball. We can't be too passive. They had a couple missing players last time out, so we don't know if Mitoma, Veltman, Webster, Hinshelwood, Gruda, and Solly March are going to be fit or not. Diego Gomez looks like he's back. We'll need to watch out for Danny Welbeck. He's the guy that they're going to really look to. He's experienced, he's big, he's powerful, he's quick. We know him well. Our former Academy product loves a goal against us as well. 6 goals and an assist in all comps against us, in fact, since leaving the club. And he is their top scorer this season right now with 4 league goals. Minta, also a big threat. He killed us at Old Trafford last season. Mitoma loves getting in the back stick to get on the end of crosses. We have to close down the ball. We have to jump and try to clear the danger. We have to be alert to the danger at the back post. Are you guys worried about Baleba at all? He's declined rapidly. Hurzeler keeps getting asked about Baleba and pressers, and he said again that maybe rumors and some noise, maybe they have affected him. Are you guys worried about Baleba in this match? Does that make you worried about the idea of signing Baleba, that he's so distracted? You guys let me know what is going on. Stephanie, back in the house. 9 likes. Yes, guys. Please make sure you're liking and subscribing. Love seeing the channel grow. Love seeing the community grow. I love it when there's new faces in the chat as well. I love all the regulars, of course, but I like seeing the community grow. That means you guys are just helping out and doing what you need to do, and I appreciate that. Box says, Brighton seem to turn over 20 players every year, but they stay pretty consistent. Yeah, and it's because they're a selling club. And that's basically the goal of a selling club. Remember, Southampton did this for a while. Ajax were just known for this. Teams like PSV, Benfica. This has been Ajax and Benfica have the benefit of being in like a 2-team league, basically, almost. So it's expected. That's why Dortmund can get away with it too, because it's a 2-team league in Dortmund. That's just how it is. But eventually, there's going to be a little bit of diminishing returns there, because you saw it with Southampton. You can only be a selling club for so long and not win anything and not really challenge before you start just consistently dropping lower and lower and lower for now your mid-table to now your relegation and stuff. And you've got to find a way at some point as a selling club, you have to decide to make that decision to, hey, we are going to try to hold on to these players. We're going to try to make a good push, a good run. Brighton got into Europe not that long ago. Dortmund obviously got to a Champions League final not that long ago. So you get those one-offs here and there. But I don't have a problem with selling clubs. I love Brighton's model when it comes to recruitment. I would never want us to be a selling club like that, if that makes sense. But that's because they just keep on rolling when you've got a good structure in place, like from a systemic, like backroom staff, everything. Like, you can do that. That's why Liverpool can do it over the last decade, because they lose one player, they'll bring in another one, because the train just keeps on rolling and you bring in stuff that fits. Steph says, United need to score at least 3 goals to secure all 3 points tomorrow. Yeah, I'll get your score predictions in a little bit. I've got mine as well. Let's see. Who's in the house? Oh, Raptab, is it Jim's birthday? Big up, Jim, 64. If you're in the house, big up. Happy birthday. You share a birthday with Waza. Lucky you. Box says Baleba, who? Unbelievable. Ding. Roman says, have you seen this video from HIT Sevens? He talks about how superstitious players are. Lack of education, mainly the reason he pointed out, because we always lose to Brighton. Yeah, I think there's a fine line between superstition, in my opinion, and like if you read this book behind me, 12 Yards, the art and psychology of the perfect penalty kick, he talks a lot about Ben Littleton is the author. He talks a lot about England and penalty shootouts. Now, there's correlation between England struggling with penalty shootouts because that they always think about how they've struggled in the past, so that they just keep carrying that with them, and it builds and builds and builds. This is a mentality shift. This is where guys like Cunha and Mbeumo and Shesko and Lamens, or Licha if he was here, De Ligt now, these are where guys like that can really shift that for us. Where I don't see any I'm sure there's players who, you see it every time someone they walk onto the pitch. Everybody's got like a little routine. Some players jump, some players bend over, touch the pitch, kiss their hand, whatever. Everybody's got these little things that maybe they did that once and they got a really good performance, and now they do that every time. Some players put weird things in their socks and shit. It is what it is. That kind of stuff, that just happens. I don't necessarily buy into that kind of stuff. That's just my worldview. But I think the mentality aspect of Brighton, we always struggle against Brighton. That will play a role and can play a role. I hope it doesn't, but it can. Just like, again, correlative data for England and shootouts. So, but do you think there's superstition? Do you think there's a hoodoo involved here? Stephanie thinks Baleba will show up tomorrow. I don't ever worry about marking Baleba because Baleba is the guy who's going to win the ball. And when I do this center midfielder scouting report maybe later on today or tomorrow, I'm not going to do it live because it would take a long time to get through. But when I do that, you'll see what I mean. He is a ball winner, Baleba. He's not the guy who's going to play the incisive pass and stuff like that. He's a straight up ball winner. So I don't worry about marking him. We just need to move the ball. Roman says they're pretty average or awful when they play other teams, so it's no ability, that boogeyman thing mentality. Yeah, these are the teams that we struggle against. Again, even under Ten Hag and Ollie, we show up against big teams. We show up against Cities and Liverpools. I mean, Ollie had Pep's number. We knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup. Amorim has actually taken more points off of Liverpool. He got that draw last season and he just beat them. So there's that. It's the Brightons, it's the Fulhams, it's the Bournemouths, the Palaces, the Forest, the Brentfords. These are the teams that I said way early on. Remember when we talked about the season predictions when Dylan and I did that Kickabout special. This is where Amorim is really going to have to start making a difference. We have to start beating sides, these mid-table sides, on a regular basis, because that's going to make the difference when it comes to points. We seem to struggle because they're physical, they're aggressive, they've got that mentality, they're scrappy, and we've just struggled with that. Big up, Sanjay, the Globetrotter. How you going to do, man? Steph says, picturing walking off the pitch at final whistle, having won the game. Yeah, and that's the thing. Visualization techniques, reframing, self-talk. I did, if you guys remember, it was like maybe a year and a half ago now, because for those of you who are new, I'm a mental health professional. This is what I do on a regular basis. I did a whole video on mindset and mentality for United's players back under Ten Hag when we were struggling. I did a whole video on that. Different tools they could do, what I see going wrong, a lack of resilience in the squad, like heads drop, how do you bounce back from adversity, how do you push through it. Did a whole thing on there. Visualization, like you're talking about, Steph, that's a good way to do it. Picturing that and kind of starting in reverse. You start from that mental place of winning and walking on pitch, and you work backwards from that. How do I get from that to, like, how do I bridge that gap from where I am now to getting that goal? It's a solutions focused mindset, and I like that. So, but you're right on the money, head of the class for Stephanie. Big up. Teresa says, I watched Brighton the other day. They messy. Amorim will probably slow them down a bit. Yeah, and this is where we can get to them. So like I just said, because they push those center backs a little more forward, right? I think that's where they can be got. So again, we need to watch out for Welbeck and stuff. So I guess you could say we are in a little bit of good form right now. We finally managed 2 league wins in a row, 9 points from the last 15, including big wins against Chelsea and Liverpool. So I like that. That's going to be good for us mentality-wise. The problem is that we've seen for a few years, again, like I just said, we show up for big matches, but again, those Brentfords, Fulham, Palaces, Brightons, these guys cause us problems. We lose that physical battle. We lose that mental battle, despite like looking at the squads on paper, and you can say there's a big difference, but just there's the intangibles, the mentality, the fight, the resilience, the aggression that we just seem to struggle with. I think that we can agree, though, that we have improved in that regard, at least this season. The players came back from summer like leaner, more aggressive. We fought a lot. I mean, we were all over Liverpool. We did really good against Sunderland. We were the better team against Arsenal. We just happened to get unlucky in that one. But with Brighton taking up the middle of the pitch, we need to be disciplined in that area because we do get carved open in that area of the pitch. We need to move that ball. We need to be careful with the ball. And like I was saying, if there is an area of weakness for them, that's definitely something to focus on. It's their defenders. On the ball, their defenders can be a little shaky. They do give away easy, like Dunk gave away a simple pass, and they were wide open in a counterattack, and they conceded a goal because of it. And I think that when they build out from the back, again, they leave in that space. We can exploit that if we do quick transitions, play those vertical balls, and we have to dial it in. If you can't dial in a long ball, you need to keep it on the ground and just put it around the outside or put it through. I think if we press them, their defenders especially, if we press them like yes, aggressively, but also wisely. I don't want to see like Bruno being the only one pressing. Like we have to coordinate the press. Pressing is not just closing down the ball. There are triggers, there are zones, there is coordination involved. We have to be wise if we're going to press because we can force an error like they had recently. But that what that also does, like we saw later on against Liverpool when we kind of reverted to type and somebody would go press, it does leave us exposed. So we've got to get better at that. This is where that footballing IQ that I said we've also been lacking, this is where that's going to come into play. We need to be switched on at the back post because we've gotten done there so many times. For the love of Fergie too. Again, close down the ball when they're trying to put balls into the box. Because if they are allowed to pick their crosses at will, Danny Welbeck's just going to have a field day. Let's see. Rob says Amorim smashed up a TV last time Brighton were here. I didn't hear any smashing when I was there, but so in this one, I wouldn't exactly bank on a copy paste performance like we saw at Liverpool in terms of tactic, because again, we exploited Liverpool's like shittiness at long balls. That was the game plan. That definitely felt more like I like the mentality. I like the how players showed that they could stick to a game plan. I like the patience and the composure, the discipline. I really liked that. Those kind of things, yes, those can translate. Positional discipline, patience, like that can translate. We don't need to just focus on second balls against Brighton. Now, that was a Liverpool thing. But I also like that Amorim did his homework there. Let's just hope he keeps it up because we're not going to have as much. We're not like we do better when we don't have a lot of the ball, but we at home we are going to have more of the ball. So we have to be better with the ball and then rest defense. So Leach is supposedly back in training, but I'd still probably wait until after the break to bring him back into the matchday squad. I don't want to risk that. Mazraoui was on the bench against Liverpool. We'll see what he does. Amorim did state in his pre-match press conference that Maguire and Mount could miss this one. They picked up Knox in training, but he said, we'll see. But we could be without Maguire and Mount. Maguire, who's been key for us so much, that could be a big blow. But I know a lot of you like Lenny Euro, so wouldn't be surprised to see Hayden on the bench, Euro, De Ligt, and Shaw in that back line. But you guys let me know what your guys' starting 11 looks like. This is where you guys get involved. What's your starting 11 look like? Last time we did who you want. Maybe this time do a prediction. What do you think we're gonna see? Let me know. And make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, guys. Roman says, long ball and being direct is the best solution, but I don't think we'll do it since it looks very lame to do that at Old Trafford. Yeah, and I just don't think Brighton are the same as Liverpool in that regard, so it might not be something to go for. So Box thinks West Ham are getting relegated. Wolves, dude, I'm telling you. João Gomez is right there in January. Wolves are still like bottom of the table. Just go snatch him up. You can probably get him for a huge, huge deal. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, it is Bruno's 300th appearance, and it's Wayne Rooney's birthday. So yeah, keep getting in your favorite Rooney memories as we go along. Big up, Jarvis. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're having a good day. Hope the kiddo's doing well, man. Hope you guys are getting any more cards. I never got into the card thing growing up, even like with any sport. I just didn't collect cards or anything. But I had a lot of toys growing up, but mostly Ninja Turtles. I was all about Ninja Turtles when I was little. Yes, I'm old enough to know what Ninja Turtles are. Don't judge me. Bog says, hopefully Fernandes gets a goal on his 300. That would be great. His value dropped by about, what do we say, like 5 million euros according to the transfer market, but it's because he's older. And I said the other day, he's not going to get as many goals because we're just not in. We're already out of 2 competitions. Half the competitions that Bruno is normally involved in, we've been out of for a couple months now. So it ain't going to happen. Roman says, pressing won't work since we play with 2-man midfield. Our midfielders won't go man-to-man, even if you compensate with the defenders. You don't have to press. We can press with Šeško, and we can press with one of the wide players. It doesn't have to be everybody press. So, like, if Lewis Dunk gets the ball and he's trying to build out, Šeško can kind of press centrally, drop, and like maybe cut off that passing option. Mbeumo can maybe try to press Dunk directly. Ahmad can push up a little bit. But then that's, again, the midfielders need to recognize that. They need to recognize that. And that's just the way it's coordinated. That's why I said pressing is about coordination as well. Jarvis says dirty Leeds is up. Dude, I feel bad for West Ham. Not really, but if West Ham get relegated, who would you steal from them? Honestly, like I would take Jared Bowen if he wants to be a rotation option. I think he's experienced. I think he offers physicality and fight and determination. He's got mentality and leadership. I would take Jared Bowen, especially if Joshua Zirkzee does want to leave, replace him with Jared Bowen and let Jared Bowen and Shesko kind of rotate. I'd make that happen. I think that's fine for a couple of years. Definitely would not go near Todibo. Remember we were all on the Todibo hype train, and then he showed up in Premier League football and just shit the bed. Sidestepped that one, didn't we? Would you bring Wan-Bissaka back? Maybe. Who's their left back? Maybe we can throw something there. Rob says, I want Euro back for speed. Yes, get in your predicted start 11. How do you think we'll line up tomorrow? Box is going Lamens, Euro, Delit, Shaw, Ahmad, Casemiro, Fernandes, Mazraoui. So we're putting Mazraoui on the left, I'm assuming. Mbumo, Cunha, Shesko is probably the best we have, honestly, with who's available right now, personally. Driver says if Maguire and Mount are injured, starting 11 picks itself. Yeah, I think you definitely need to start Shesko. It was definitely a tactical thing against Liverpool, but we want our strikers fit, firing, and confident scoring goals. Steph says, I think Amorim using Maguire and Mount knocks as an excuse to change it up with Euro. Well, yeah, and Maguire not being in does, yeah. So I agree. Well done. Jarvis says, yes, Sean Bowen is meant. Yeah, I would. As a rotation option, there are worse options. Like there are worse options. So Rob thinks Bowen is overrated. It's not that I'm like he's amazing, he's world class, but if you look at just strikers in the Premier League especially, he's definitely up there. It wasn't too long ago that he was like one among like what top 4 or 5 or whatever's top scorers in the league. Like I don't think he's bad. But again, as a rotation option, or an experienced option to come in and pitch in with, maybe throw on like, 10 matches or something, especially in the FA Cup too. I don't have a problem with it. But again, you guys know I am all about being a vulture and picking apart relegation fodder. I want to go for João Gomez in January. If Wolves are still shit, I would definitely go grab. You guys remember we did that video last year, and we'll probably do it again this year. We picked 2 players from each of the 3 relegated sides that I would take at United. So we did that last year with we do Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. We'll do it again this year because you guys know I like doing that kind of shit. So I have no shame. Roman says the usual Shesko, Dorgu, Bruno, and Casemiro for defense. So whoever did that one, they didn't have Dorgu in there. Interesting. Definitely don't want to see Mount and Dallo. Well, Mount might be injured. Dallo, you guys know I've been done with Dallo for a hot second. Like for real. Steph says Lamens, Mazraoui, Delit, Euro. So you're putting Mazraoui back there. No Shaw. Okay. Ahmad, Bruno, Casemiro, Dorgu. Dorgu gets a lot of shit, but I forget who was in the chat, but on Wednesday, but I put up those numbers. He's like in a lot of metrics, Dorgu's actually doing well. I think we need to also just filter it through the reality that Dorgu's 20 years old. Like Kabi is 20 years old too, and he's not getting any minutes. Like these guys are young. They're not anywhere near the finished article. And it's those intangibles that Dorgu brings, that energy, that fight, that determination. The other stuff, the technical stuff, like the crossing, yes, it's not great. He's had some good crosses, but more often than not, he's just trying to pinpoint it when he just needs to put it into space. He'll learn that. He'll get better at that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about that. What he does bring is stuff you can't really teach. Like, it just is what it is. The same with McTominay. McTominay had so many qualities. You don't teach that. If you could, we wouldn't be sitting here complaining about other people who have gone from the club in recent years. So I like Dorgu. He should probably not start week in, week out, but it's where we are right now. So, yeah, Paqueta is a good shout, Jarvis. I do like Paqueta. I stayed away from him for a little bit until all the case stuff. I think it was gambling, right? I think he's been cleared, so it is what it is. But yeah, I like Paqueta a lot. I liked him when he was at Leverkusen. If you guys remember, he used to play for Leverkusen. Very good there. He was at AC Milan, I think, after that. Really, really good player. Big fan of Paqueta a lot. Rob says, I ain't dropping Boomer. No, Bowen would play striker. He would play striker in my mind. Not like starting week in, week out, but he would come in and be like the option, basically. It's good to have. If Zirkzee left, basically. Teresa's going Shaw, Dorgu, Zirkzee down the left. I think he may make an appearance. Euro, Delit, Shesko, Bumo, Ahmad, Casemiro. So everybody's pretty similar. Some people throwing Shaw in there. Some people throwing Mazraoui in there. Some people putting Dorgu on the bench. Interesting. Bexy's in the house. Big up, Bexy. Truth be told, I think United can get a comfortable win tomorrow. They get it at like Liverpool. It's an if 2-0, you know. So we're getting score predictions. Yeah, how are you guys feeling about this? 93% of you say a win. Is all the buzz from the Liverpool result still got you kind of riding a high? Are you still optimistic? Are you still like spitting fire? Was that a one-off? Was it the start of something? Let me know your score predictions right now. I'm going 3-1 United. I said this on Jarvis's show last night. I'm going 3-1 United. When I did my Super Brew picks today, I stuck by it, so I'm doing that. I think this is the one where Dorgu breaks his duck and the floodgates open. And I think this could be a turning of a corner for us in some ways. I'm not going to go hard like I did on Jarvis's channel last night and say 21 is coming. I was a little tipsy when I did that, but we'll see. Rob says, I want Dorgu, but Amorim loves Dallo. I think what he loves about Dallo is just that he runs around a lot or something, because I don't see anything from Dallo that I find redeeming. He's shit at 1v1s. He can't control the ball. His crossing has never been good. He doesn't close down the attackers. He looks scared when he's squared up against the opposition. He's squared up because he can't control the pass, and so he allows himself to get closed down. He's just shit, dude. He's shit. Bexy says, Lamens at the minute is a key player. Yeah, Lamens this is why I wanted him to start immediately. I do think a couple of these results we've had would have gone differently had Lamens been in goal. Like I wholeheartedly believe that. Obviously I can't prove it, but you're not going to change my mind. So, well, he says Edson Alvarez. He's not there anymore, man. He is at Fenerbahce now. I was just watching that Fener match yesterday. I didn't realize he was at Fenerbahce, so it's interesting you brought that up. Yeah, Edson Alvarez is at Fenerbahce now, Jarvis. Let's see. Rob says, if we have to take a gambler, it has to be Tonali. I've seen a lot of people would take Ivan Toney. A lot of people rate Ivan Toney still. Lucky Singh in the house. Big up, Lucky. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. He's going Euro, Mazraoui, Shaw, Casemiro, Cobby. You only have 2 center backs in there, guy. Dallo, Cunha, Bruno. So who's your... Oh, you got Shaw, Mazraoui. Okay, never mind. You're good. Gotcha. Bog says Bowen for Zirkzee. I do. So yeah, see, it's not completely off the mark, right? It's not completely far-fetched. Roman says, man, just imagine singing Nuno Mendes offering 150%. Yeah. I think obviously Nuno Mendes is one of those players who has come back strong from a serious injury. The injury is the only reason why he wasn't ever really on my list. With all the injury-prone players we've had over the years, I avoid them like the plague now. And yes, sometimes that means we're going to miss out on players, but I just don't think it's a risk that you can take, especially with someone who's going to have those wages. You wouldn't have wanted, if he would have come to United with the wages he's on and the fee we'd have had to pay, and he would have gotten a recurrence of that injury that kept him out for like a season, we would be fucked. Like, just fucked. Box is going 4-2 United. All right, big up. I went 3-1, so same GD there. Roman's keeping it closer, a little 2-1. Big up. Bexy says, saw a penalty compilation of video. Yeah, remember his penalty save percentage was awesome, like top couple percentile. His crosses claimed, his save percentage. He's arguably one of the best keepers in Europe last season in the top 5 leagues. So, Box says, I'm already thinking about number 22. Nice. I like your optimism, Box. Never change. Rob says, yes, Rob. Big thanks for the shout out. Rob's always doing the Lord's work out here, pushing the channel, hyping it up. Very active in the UVE WhatsApp group. Again, starting 11 Legends members. There is a link in the post. If you scroll down, you'll see it. You can get involved. There is a unique post in there where you can leave your suggestions as well for scouting reports, players, what if episode ideas, and questions from Abu. We did a couple questions on the Kickabout if you guys managed to catch that one. So you guys can go back and watch that one if you haven't. That was a fun show on Wednesday. Roman says 2-1 United. Brighton scores first, and we win it at the end. Well, we were shit last year. I'm not going to lie. I was at that match. It was dead. It was like quiet. We were not happy with that one. So Teresa's going with a clean sheet with as many goals as possible. I like this. You guys are awesome. Let's put that positivity out there. Teresa was talking about mentality, visualization. Let's visualize the win, walking off the pitch, celebrating in front of the fans. I'm telling you, walking out of Old Trafford after a win is fucking awesome because everyone is buzzing. The streets are packed. You can't get in. It's freaking awesome. It's tangible, like the wave of excitement and enthusiasm. Conversely, it is also tangible when shit hits the fan, i.e., when Onana got Casemiro sent off against Galatasaray. I was there for that. That was you could feel the fucking just dejectedness in that match, dude. Box column Bruno, Shesko, Cunha, Delit goal scorers. Big up, man. I like that. Bexley says Shesko could be really hungry tomorrow with Mount out. Cunha, I'm hoping. Yeah, I think Cunha is going to break that duck. I think the floodgates are going to open. Though honestly, it would be the most Manchester United thing ever to go from dominating Liverpool at Anfield and then turning around and getting absolutely bent over but at home to Brighton. It's happened. It's very us to do that. It would really be on brand for us. But still a win, and it's going to be the first time we've put together a 3-match winning run since February of 2024. Like before Amorim even got here under Ten Hag, we failed to win 3 on the bounce in the league. So, and a big win, theoretically, could even shoot us up to 3rd place if other results go our way. Everybody would have to lose, so it's not going to happen. But we could be cracking into top 4 European spots. So anybody who wants to change their season prediction, let me know. Remember, Dylan and I were predicting like 7th, 8th, 9th-ish. Who knows? We're not that far off, but we'll see what happens. Let me get involved more of these chats. Guys, make sure that you get their likes and subscriptions in, please. That would really help me out. Let's see. Rob says, my ideal 3 would be Euro, Delit, Mazraoui. Is it sad, though, that Mazraoui is a fullback and he's getting into our ideal 3? I mean, I get it with who we have. I mean, maybe we do need a defender more than we thought. Who knows? Roman says, that's the kind of signings that elevate you from top 4 or 5 to win titles. Yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Like he's talking tactics. I like that, man. I like it. Jarvis is a bit skeptical. If we decide to press high, I think Brighton could play right through us. They're excellent at building out from the back under pressure. Could really come back to bite us. If we press wisely and patiently and not erratically like we have done, like we do like what we did at Liverpool, I think because their center backs are a bit sloppy on the ball. And Lewis Dunk literally just was, again, just sloppy pass straight across, like committed the like the biggest faux pas. You don't pass across your own midfield when you're in your own defensive third. Not smart. Gave away the ball, and it leaves them open. That's, I think, where we can do that. We don't have to press them, but be a little patient. And we know Ahmad loves to press people on the ball. He's won the ball many times doing that. It's led to goals. So I think there's a blueprint there to beat them. But what I liked against Liverpool is that we were patient and we were controlled, composed, and we were disciplined. And that is what I'd like to see more of when it comes to pressing. It doesn't have to be Bruno just chasing it around like he's my dog in the backyard trying to get the ball from me, which we do, by the way. My dogs are fucking awesome. So I hear you, though. I hear the worry. But again, discipline. If somebody's pressing, players on the opposite side maybe need to just be aware of the possible space. Rest defense, right? Watch those long diagonal switches of plays because, like I said, Van Hecke, 9th in the league right now for accurate long balls per 90. So we don't want to give them too much time, but again, we don't want to leave space. I don't think their center backs are as comfortable playing the through balls on the ground. I think they would rather throw them long. So you can pressure them into putting those out of play, but you have to just be wise. Footballing IQ, man. Roman says, that's the kind of signings that will elevate you. Which ones are you talking about? Yeah, you bringing those big ego superstars. Yeah. Wait, what? That's the kind of signings that will elevate you from top 4 or 5 to winning league titles, though you bring those big ego superstars at some point, which you dislike the idea when mentioned. I'm confused at what you're saying there. You're going to have to be a little, you have to explain that a little more. I have no clue what you're talking about. Let's see. Bexy says, United need to take that momentum from Liverpool. I think Brighton will try to keep possession early to get comfortable. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like we said, Brighton's whole thing is tempo, possession. Let's build it up. Let's make if you look at their average positions, it's very, very central. They like to control that. So we need to just be patient, and that's what I said. Be patient. Don't just go chasing the ball down. Now, again, we will feel a little bit like we have to because we're at home, but we have to be smart. It's something we're not very good at over the years. It's just being smart, taking care of the ball, seeing out a result. Like, we need to be careful. Let's see. Jarvis says, agreed. I just hope we stay patient and set up in a mid-block. It's going to come down to our game plan. Yeah, I thought we did really well. And that's like, we've said that many times before, Jarvis, like, just be a little bit more compact. Doesn't take much. Don't play such a high defensive line. Be a little more disciplined, compact in midfield, and start there, a foundation of just let's get some solidarity and some like protection there, and then we can build off of that. You always have to build off of a foundation. You can't think about what color you're painting the walls in the house before you even throw the studs in. You have to start somewhere. And so we'll see what happens. Stephanie says United players rarely grab multiple 2 or more goals in Premier League games. Only Rashford 2 and 4 will win versus Everton. Ahmad hat-trick versus Saints. Yeah, Dustin and I were at that match too, the Southampton match. So we were there for that. That was awesome. It was fucking crazy, man. I seriously thought we were gonna get jumped by because we were about 20 yards from the Southampton fan section, and they scored, and they were giving us the big one the whole time, and then we scored, and then we scored again, and then we scored again, and everybody was just like, we were just going after him, and like people were getting like escorted out, like security was getting involved. Like I thought there were about to be fights, but I'm absolutely up for it, man. It's freaking awesome. I have no problem with that. Rob says, I don't think teams can be comfortable with Mbeumo on the pitch. He's a nightmare. Yeah, I think, and that's what something can do for you with just having players like elevating that. Because like I'm not worried. Like, if I were an opposition player, I wouldn't worry too much with Garnacho because, yes, it's like Adama Traore. I never worry about Adama Traore. He's fast, yes, but he has zero end product. I don't worry about him. Just let him have the ball. I don't care. Or Timo Werner. Yeah, he's cool. He's fast, but that's literally all he does, because just my best tactic for defending Timo Werner, just let him get a shot off. It's just the way it is. So, but let me know what you think about the match, what your predictions, who you think that starting 11 is going to be. And hopefully we'll be back talking about a win. Probably not going to do a video. I got to pick my wife up tomorrow immediately after the match because she's coming back from England. She's been there for 2 weeks. So we're doing that. But probably Sunday midday, we'll do a match reaction video. So I know we started a new format where we do an initial reaction and then the 3 thoughts. For this weekend, I have to go back to doing one video because I don't have the time. So it's going to happen. But if you guys want me to make more time for it, keep sharing, keep liking and subscribing, get this channel going. Eventually, I can just put more effort and more time into it and make it, I do put a lot of time into it, but it's not my job. I've got a job. I've got clients. I've got a business. I got shit to do. So, but I love doing this. I do it mainly because I just like chatting with you guys. So that's just why I do it. So keep it up, you guys. If you weren't able to catch the live, guys, leave your comments with all your predictions and stuff. Make sure when you're done here, go hype a couple of the old videos for me if you wouldn't mind. It's free. It takes a hot second to do, and it does help the channel grow because that's how YouTube's doing things. So Rob is going with me. 3-1 United. You know what? Fuck it. 21's coming. Who cares? We'll leave it there, you guys. Take it easy. Thank you guys for stopping by today. I appreciate each and every one of you for doing this. You guys are absolute legends. You guys take it easy, and I will see you guys hopefully talking about 3 points, maybe even talking about top 4 if things go our way. So enjoy your Friday. See you guys on the next one. Don't forget, both Academy under 18s, under 21s play tomorrow morning too. So take it easy, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.